Hello everybody, today we're going to be taking a look at these FEIT Electric 0.6 watt C7 filament LED nightlight bulbs. Now these are pretty cool. Another company making little C7 filament LED bulbs, and at least a company with an actual brand name, not some random thing you may not have ever heard of. Now I've picked up many of this style of bulb from GE. They're sold at Lowe's. Now these were found at Menards, and I'm very interested to see how well they hold up in my expectations for these little tiny filament LED nightlight bulbs, because a lot of them get things wrong, like 60 hertz flicker and things like that. The GE version of these I absolutely love. Now this is nice, you get 4 of them in a package versus the GEs you only get 2 for the same price. So let's go ahead and get right into these. So as you can see on the package, we get 4 bulbs. You can see little filament LEDs inside. I believe they're plastic. They're not glass like the GEs. 7 watt equivalent, they say. Of course, 0.6 watt. I believe the GE offering is 1.5 watt for the 7 watt equivalent and 0.5 watt for the 4 watt equivalent, because they have the 2 different versions. Now, when I was there looking at these at Menards, I think they only had a 7 watt equivalent for these filament LED bulbs, and that's the ones I use the most, at least for accent lighting. It claims to be 30 lumens here, and on the back we have all of our additional information as well. So let's go ahead and open this up. We have the traditional little poke a hole here in the back, and it should just open right up for us. Traditional nightlight bulb style package. And here it is. First thing I notice, incredibly light, but that's to be expected. It's definitely a plastic. Yeah, it feels definitely plastic, but I have nothing against that. That's not a problem. It's just, that's what it is. So obviously all of our circuitry is down here in the bottom, and our filament LED is, well, right in the middle. It looks slightly shorter than the GE version, but hey, it could be the exact same thing. I guess we'll find out. The information around the bulb here is exactly the same as we saw on the packaging. It's just really hard to read. And a pretty standard candelabra base here as well. Nothing too incredibly special. In fact, it could be nice to have a plastic enclosure, a lot less prone to breakage. Oh yeah, you can see the seam there where I'm sure they put it together, or the mold, injection mold for it. Okay, let's get our adapter here. We'll screw it in. Let's turn it on. Oh, yeah, it's definitely bright. Reminds me a lot of the 7 watt equivalent of the GE. So I think we got some high hopes here. Let's turn off the lights. Yeah, not bad. Not bad. I'm liking it. I have it about 2 feet away from the lux meter. And to be honest, I stared at this too long, so my eyes have a little burn in. But we're getting about 8 lux on the lux meter. Of course, if I point it straight down, we have a spot of no light at all, because, we're looking at it straight on, and we're not going to get much of a light distribution there. But another thing I like about these being filament LEDs, it puts the light in all directions. A lot of these have just the little LEDs inside, and they're either pointing out one way or the other, or just directly up. But this is 360, of course, not straight on, but it's just crazy how there's just that much of a dot of nothing. But other than that, around it wise, quite impressive. I guess I'd say this is slightly dimmer than the GE 7 watt equivalent. The GE 7 watt equivalent is quite bright for what they say it is. But this is definitely a little brighter than the 4 watt offering that GE has. For a quick comparison, I took this nightlight out of the bathroom down here, and it has one of these GE bulbs in it. This bulb has been on for probably about 2 years, 24/7, constant. I never turn it off. So this is a 7 watt equivalent from GE. We'll take a better look at it here in a second. But let's put it in here. Yeah, that is definitely brighter. Again, if we hold it 2 feet away from the lux meter, we're getting about 20 lux here. Yeah, 20 lux. And if we put in the FEIT version and line it up, yeah, we're only getting about 8. 6, 7, 8, depending on how well I hold this steady. So yeah, the GE offering, it does draw more power. Does seem to be brighter for their 7-watt equivalent. Okay, let's turn the lights back on and get a better comparison of the two here. So here is the FEIT version and the GE version. Now, the GE one here claims to be 40 lumens. Well, these are 30, and I mean, it could be that much of a difference. I'm not entirely sure. But you can also see the GE version has a longer filament LED in there. It's a little thinner, a little longer, and yes, they definitely look like high-pressure sodium bulbs. But the GE has a glass enclosure with one of these big bases on it. So it does seem to maybe be a little higher quality, but I'm still very much impressed by this FEIT version. You can see all the goop holding the GE on there. Both the same size, height-wise, for sure. No difference there. Just a nice little comparison of the two. I still really like these. If you're looking for a really good, filament LED nightlight bulb with no 60 hertz flicker, these things are my go-to. That's one thing I forgot to take a look at. Let's take a look if there's 60 hertz flicker. And how I do that is we'll turn this on, and I just kind of wave my hand underneath it and see if I can, if it has like a shutter effect. If it's kind of jittery looking when I wave my hand underneath it. And there seems to be a little bit of it, but it's not too bad. And when you move it around, sometimes you can see it too. Now, of course, I don't think it'll pick that up on camera real well. But if I change this over to the GE version and do the same thing, oh yeah, we don't have that flicker at all with the GE version. And it's just such an easy thing to do. I do it when I go and inspect buildings for my work. When I'm in a room, I can tell that it's some cheap LED because as soon as I move my arm around, you get this like shutter effect, the 60 hertz flicker, because the power just isn't being handled correctly for the LED. And here, the GE just does such a great job of smoothing it. There is zero flicker here. So there is a bit of flicker with the FEIT, but it's not that noticeable. The GE, oh, smooth as can be. Love it. But that's not what this video is about. This video is about the FEIT version here. And I am quite impressed with these. For the price, I think it was about $5 or so. And you get 4 of them. That's not bad. I do like this a lot. Oh, one thing we did not do yet, because we're jumping all over the place, is plugging it into the Variac here and getting readings. So let's turn it back on. 119 volts. Doesn't even show up as any amps at all. 0.6 watts right on the dot. And a power factor of 0.66. Now I'm interested to see what the power factor is for the GE here. That's about the same, 0.62. Okay, now we'll put the FEIT version back in here. And let's bring it on over to our Variac here and see how well it dims for us. Okay, turn that on and we'll plug the Variac in because it does have a little bit of a hum. There we go, it is on. So we're at 120. Dim it down, it's about 90, 70. Ooh, these dim really nice. 50. We're kind of cut out there. Okay, let's turn the lights off again. Boy, we're doing a lot of lights on and off here, but just take a look at that. We'll get it a little dimmer. And if we do it just right, and it focuses, you can see the individual LEDs on the filament. Come on, let's get it dialed in here. There you can see, it's very faint, but you can see the individual LEDs on the filament. Very cool. So yeah, we can get this very dim. We're currently at about 40 volts right now. Oh, that's really impressive. Now, keep in mind, this isn't a standard dimmer. We're just changing the voltage on it. But yeah, it dims very nicely. Very impressive. And back to 120. I'm overall very impressed with this. So if you are looking for something like this and you have a Menards near you, go ahead and pick them up. I'm real impressed. Of course, they're not going to get that hot. They're filament LED. These GE ones barely get that hot at all. They last forever. I'm sure these will hopefully last just as long. Like I said, this one's been on for probably a little over 2 years constantly, 24/7, 365, still going strong. So I have high hopes for these. I'll put some of them in use, and we'll see how well they work out. I do hope you enjoyed this video, taking a look at these FEIT Electric C7 filament LED bulbs, and also please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. And thank you very much for watching.